Welcome to your guide to global trade. In today's interconnected world, goods and services move across borders at an unprecedented rate. But have you ever wondered how different economic systems influence these exchanges? In this video, we'll explore the basics of global trade and examine how economic systems shape the flow of products, ideas, and money around the world. From bustling ports to digital marketplaces, global trade is everywhere. Let's start by understanding what global trade means and why it matters to economies, businesses, and individuals alike. Global trade refers to the exchange of goods and services between countries. It's the backbone of the modern economy, allowing nations to access products they don't produce locally and to sell their own specialties abroad. This exchange creates opportunities for growth, innovation, and cultural exchange. Whether it's coffee from Brazil, electronics from Japan, or cars from Germany, global trade connects people and businesses worldwide. Understanding global trade is essential for grasping how economies interact and depend on each other. Economic systems are the frameworks that determine how resources are allocated, what goods are produced, and how they are distributed. The main types include capitalism, socialism, and mixed economies. Each system has its own rules and priorities, which influence how countries engage in global trade. For example, capitalist economies focus on free markets and competition, while socialist economies emphasize state control and equality. Mixed economies combine elements of both. These systems shape the way nations trade and interact globally. Capitalist economies, private ownership and free markets drive production and trade. Businesses compete to offer the best products at the lowest prices, and consumers have the freedom to choose. This competition encourages innovation and efficiency, making capitalist countries active participants in global trade. The United States, for example, is known for its open markets and extensive trade networks. Capitalism's focus on profit and growth often leads to increased exports and imports, fueling economic expansion. Socialist economies prioritize state ownership and equality. The government controls major industries and often regulates trade to protect domestic interests. While socialist countries may trade internationally, their approach is usually more cautious and focused on meeting social needs rather than maximizing profit. Examples include Cuba and North Korea, where trade is limited and tightly controlled. Socialism's emphasis on fairness and stability can restrict global trade but also protect local industries from foreign competition. Most countries operate under mixed economies, blending elements of capitalism and socialism. Governments may regulate certain industries while allowing others to operate freely. This balance enables countries to participate in global trade while protecting key sectors. For instance, France and Canada have strong social programs but also encourage private enterprise and international trade. Mixed economies offer flexibility, adapting to global trends while maintaining local priorities. Trade agreements are formal arrangements between countries to facilitate commerce. These agreements reduce barriers like tariffs and quotas, making it easier for nations to exchange goods and services. Examples include NAFTA, the European Union, and the World Trade Organization. Trade agreements reflect the economic systems of participating countries and help shape global trade patterns. They promote cooperation, economic growth, and stability across borders. Tariffs and quotas are tools used by governments to control trade. Tariffs are taxes on imported goods, while quotas limit the amount of a product that can enter a country. These measures protect domestic industries but can also lead to trade disputes. Economic systems influence how tariffs and quotas are applied. Capitalist countries may favor fewer restrictions, while socialist nations often use them to safeguard local production. Free trade zones are special areas where goods can be imported, stored, and exported with minimal regulation. These zones encourage international business by reducing taxes and paperwork. Economic systems determine how free trade zones operate and who benefits. Capitalist countries often use them to attract investment, while mixed economies balance incentives with oversight. Free trade zones boost global commerce and create jobs. Global supply chains link producers, suppliers, and consumers across countries. Economic systems affect how these chains are managed and who controls them. Capitalist economies favor efficiency and cost reduction, while socialist systems may prioritize stability and local sourcing. Mixed economies seek a balance. Supply chains are essential for delivering products worldwide, from smartphones to clothing, and are shaped by trade policies and regulations. Currency exchange is a critical part of global trade. Different economic systems influence how currencies are valued and traded. Capitalist countries often have floating exchange rates, while socialist nations may fix their currency values. Mixed economies use a combination of methods. Currency exchange affects the price of imports and exports, impacting trade balances and economic growth. Trade barriers are obstacles that restrict the flow of goods and services. These include tariffs, quotas, and regulations. Economic systems determine the types and levels of barriers used. Capitalist economies prefer fewer barriers to encourage competition, while socialist systems use them to protect domestic interests. Mixed economies find a middle ground. Trade barriers can affect prices, availability, and international relationships. Trade deficit occurs when a country imports more than it exports, while a surplus means exports exceed imports. Economic systems influence how countries respond to these situations. Capitalist nations may accept deficits as part of global competition, while socialist countries strive for balance. Mixed economies use policies to manage deficits and surpluses. These measures impact economic health and international standing. Emerging markets are countries experiencing rapid growth and industrialization. Their economic systems are often in transition, blending elements of capitalism and socialism. These nations play an increasingly important role in global trade, offering new opportunities and challenges. Examples include China, India, and Brazil. Emerging markets influence global supply chains, investment flows, and trade agreements. Technology has revolutionized global trade. Digital platforms, automation, and logistics software make it easier for businesses to connect and exchange goods. Economic systems influence how technology is adopted and regulated. Capitalist countries often embrace innovation while socialist nations may control access. Mixed economies balance progress with oversight. Technology enhances efficiency, transparency, and global reach. Global trade isn't just about products, it's also about ideas and culture. Economic systems shape how cultural exchange happens. Capitalist economies encourage diversity and creativity while socialist systems may promote national identity. Mixed economies foster both. Cultural exchange enriches societies, builds understanding, and supports innovation. Trade brings people together, creating a vibrant global community. Global trade affects the environment in many ways. Economic systems determine how countries address issues like pollution, resource use, and sustainability. Capitalist economies may prioritize growth while socialist systems focus on regulation. Mixed economies seek balance. Environmental policies influence trade practices from packaging to transportation. Sustainable trade is becoming a priority worldwide. Global trade faces many challenges, including political tensions, economic instability, and changing regulations. Economic systems influence how countries respond to these issues. Capitalist nations may adapt quickly, while socialist countries rely on state intervention. Mixed economies use a variety of strategies. Overcoming challenges requires cooperation, innovation, and flexible policies. Future of global trade will be shaped by evolving economic systems, technology, and international cooperation. Countries will need to adapt to new realities, from digital marketplaces to environmental concerns. Economic systems will continue to influence trade policies and practices. The goal is to create a fair, efficient, and sustainable global trading environment that benefits everyone. Global trade is a complex and dynamic system influenced by economic frameworks. Capitalism, socialism, and mixed economies each shape trade in unique ways. Understanding these systems helps us appreciate the opportunities and challenges of international commerce. Trade agreements, technology, and environmental policies all play a role. By staying informed, we can navigate the global marketplace more effectively. Thank you for joining us on this journey through global trade and economic systems. We've explored how different frameworks impact the movement of goods, services, and ideas worldwide. As economies evolve, so does global trade. Understanding these connections helps us make informed decisions and appreciate the diversity of the world's markets. Stay curious and keep exploring the fascinating world of international commerce.